everyone. Welcome to the Spicy Divorce Party Planner TV show. I'm your host, Spice, and today I have a really exciting segment. One of my dear friends, Mrs. BB over here, Miss BB, my bad. She's getting her reading done today by the fantastic and very interesting and intriguing Richard-Lael Lillard, a psychic, and very much more.
Well, I like to tell people that I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small until I gained some weight.
You still look lovely to us.
Thank you very much. So before we go into the cards, I always like to say I deal with probabilities. So if I say something that you don't like, you are still the director of your movie. You can change it. You can change the direction. You are the author of your novel. You can say, no, that doesn't fit with my narrative and I need to change it. It's also a little bit like watching Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So from the street, you have an idea as to this is the parade, but you don't know what's coming. You don't know where it's going. You can only see the balloon. You can hear the band. You can see one float, but you can't see anything else. You don't know what's coming next. You don't know where it's going. But imagine if you were taken into a helicopter above the city. Now you can see the entire parade route. And from the air, it looks like that this is the direction that things are going to go. But that is not always the case. Back in the 90s, the Barney balloon was punctured en route and had to be deflated and removed because it hit a street post.
Oh,
but
no.
From the air in the helicopter, you would have thought this balloon is going to continue on this path. So sometimes there are things that we can't see, things that just happen and that we have no accountability for. On the other hand, with these probabilities, it helps you to give good, informed decisions. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, also one more thing is that I am human. And as a human, I get pictures. And sometimes, even though a picture may tell 1,000 words, it doesn't always tell the whole story. It's that little snippet. And there may be things that even I can't see because, again, I am human. I do have insight, but I am human. Now, with that said, we're going to start off with you, Cassandra.
Okay.
And we are going to I'm just going to clear the energy, shuffle this a couple more times. I'll clear the energy of the cards. And then I want for you to do some breathing with me. The first thing I'm going to show you, first of all, though, is that this is my Oracle deck. And I do have Tarot. I have the Oracle. I like these because it sort of goes with my aesthetic and my storytelling. So the first thing I'm going to do is clear the energy, and then we'll put your energy in it together. So first me. Now, Cassandra, if you will, sit up nice and tall for me. Put your feet flat on the earth. We're going to do 3 breaths into the nose, hold it out to the mouth. And then when we're done with the 3, you can go back to relaxation. So here we go. 3 breaths into the nose, hold it out the mouth. As I shuffle a few more times, I want for you to tell me when to stop shuffling, when you feel it is right. Okay. Now, we're going to do 3 cards for you. This is typically past, present, future, but it can also be my job relationship. It can be my physical romantic relationship. What are you more drawn to? What could be answered in 3 cards? Are you drawn for past, present, future, an overview shot, or are you looking for my love story? Are you looking for...
That's a hard one. Or career as well.
Career trajectory. Career trajectory is very intriguing. It actually works the same in this instance. Before we go much further, there is when I do my breathing techniques, I get images, and I always like to say what I see, even if it doesn't make any sense. And I feel like this one doesn't really make any sense, but I had a couple of flashes. Okay, so the first thing that I saw was what I assumed to be you, but you were wearing a black hat, a broader brimmed black hat. I don't know what the significance is of that, but that was the first thing I saw. The next thing that I saw in my mind was that of a lizard. I don't even know if you have a lizard. I don't even know. But when I think about what reptiles do, they sort of bask in the sunshine. They hide under rocks. They can oftentimes be seen as fierce predators when really they really just want to lounge in the sun all day. That's really what they want. They're not Tyrannosaurus Rexes. They're not those kind of things. It may be a physical lizard. It may be a totem, but hold on to that. It may become clearer later on down the path. Now, your 3-card read is about your career. And
what do you guys think? Should we do career or should we do relationships? Because of our show. What do you think, BB? Which one should we go with?
You know what? Go with career.
Career?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with career. Let's go with career.
Career is a good one anyway, because the cards are showing that you have come through a lot of lessons. You're right now trying to figure things out. You are feeling a little bit stagnant, but the good news is that you're coming upon a path. There's a divergence, and I'll tell you why. What this has to do with you. So the first card that comes up, it's the fox. The fox inverted. The fox is telling you about not avoiding old traps, avoiding the standard, avoiding the things that have trapped you before, whether it be the 9 to 5, avoiding those traps. And it's inverted because it's looking towards your future. It's looking towards things that have come to pass and that are quickly coming to pass. The first thing that comes up on your current, where you are right now. In my career, there is the lilies that come up. This is a feeling of somewhat stagnation and hoping for something better. Because lilies, it's the peace lily, but it's inverted. And when they are inverted, it sort of is like, the time has come, it's drying out, it's not what I need anymore, and it's time for me to look for something else. And that is what is coming ahead of you. It's the path. In the path, you are reaching a fork in the road. This one tells you that it is a divergence of path, but it's not going to stray you from your direction. So you have a decision to make. Do I go back to the status quo? Do I go back to the 9 to 5? Do I go back to the boss? Do I go back to that entrapment? Fox says, no, you shouldn't do that.
Right. I'm with the fox. Thank you.
Time to not fall in that line. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay, so I'll put these back in the deck.
Fabulous.
And we will move on to BB. BB, right?
Yes.
I did pronounce it correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is just reshuffle. Now you have substantially longer. You have 45 minutes. And this one, I'm going to do a broad overview. It's going to be slightly different than that one. Because what happens in this one is that we're going to go into the depth of your psyche. We're going to go into the depth of your world. We're going to see what is on your mind. We're going to see what things are coming. We're going to see outcomes. And this one allows you to ask questions and to move forward and to really understand a little bit more of your current situation. So I've shuffled it several times. I'm just going to clear the energy, and then 3 breaths into the nose, out the mouth. And then I'm going to have you do the same. You're going to sit up nice and tall, feet flat on the earth. 3 breaths in, exhale into the nose, into the nose, out to the mouth. And then once we're done with the 3 breaths, you can go back to relaxing. So here we go. First me. Sit up nice and tall. 3 breaths in, out, into the nose, out to the mouth. Here we go. Okay. Now, if you will, I need for you to tell me when to stop shuffling, whenever you feel it is time.
Stop.
Okay. Before I lay these cards out, I want to tell you what I saw for you. Again, things that don't always make sense, but I always feel like I have to say. So the first thing that I saw was, it was the house, and it was it was fine. Everything was fine. It was you. And then it switched to what I saw was the headlight of the train. And the overwhelming emotion that I first had was, that train is bearing down upon me. That light is shining and it's dark. And I feel like it's the deer in the headlights look. And then it switched to the moonlight, which was, the moon represents illusion. And it basically tells you that fear that you have, where it's a rational fear to have because it's scary, it's an illusion, and it's not as dangerous as you think. That may make sense to you. It may make sense in the future, but that was what I had from here.
It actually makes a lot of sense. But...
Good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to lay out your first 3 cards, which is the past, the present, the future. As I continue down, the next 3 cards that I read for you are probabilities for your distant future. The next 3 cards are the future, but a little bit further out. I always like to say 3 to 6 months, and then 6 to 8 months in the end. Then I'm going to read what the 3 things that are on your mind, the 3 things that you are focusing more on. And the next 3 things are cards that are outside of your control. With one caveat, there is a different card that is placed right across your past, your present, your future. That card is how you deal with your situations at hand. So, the distant past shows there's been okay, now, it doesn't always mean that there has been a physical death, but when these 2 come up in junction, they oftentimes represent that there has been a recent passing. It may or may not be, it may not, but that is what it typically says. So the first card that comes up, there is the scythe. This one is going in with yourself. It is that personal winter. It is preparing for the dark days ahead. It is that feeling of the grim reaper. It is that feeling of separation. It is that feeling of almost being a little bit lost, but don't worry, you're going to be okay. It's that feeling of being a little bit lost. Where we are right now at this very moment, the death card comes up. This one is not bad. It is sometimes, whether it be a physical death or whether it be the end of a cycle, whether it be for jobs or relationships, a death, the end. The good news is that it opens up and allows you to have newness. It's not the end of the world. It is the end of a cycle. And it is also the start of new beginnings. So the major thing to think of is to not be overwhelmed, okay? The card that comes up is for the future card, the distant future. It's the fish inverted. Now, the fish is a sign of abundance, but when it's inverted, it makes you think, I'm not a Christian, but it makes me think of the fishermen who tried fishing every day, and they couldn't get anything. And Jesus said, hey, try it on the other side of the boat. It feels like you're kind of stuck in that situation where you keep pulling up empty nets, and you go, are you there? No, nothing. Okay. And it needs to be the change of location, the change of energy, the change. You need to quote Queen and how you are able to function in this card. Any way the wind blows. So how are you going to get through this situation? How are you going to get through this separation, this death, this end of a cycle, beginning of a new cycle? You have to let that wind blow over you. You have to let it be as it is. And then you're going to be fine. Now, with that said, the next 6 cards represent possibilities for your future. The first 3 to 6 months, the next 3, 6 to 8, 6 to 9 months, roughly. The first 3 cards here, they're telling you that there's going to be a little bit of travel. You're going to be okay. There's some hardships that you're going to have to endure. The first thing that comes up, and I'll show you, then I'll translate. The first one comes up. It's the ship. There is the clover, and there is the serpent. Now, in this one, in the travel, this one says you're going to be okay. You are, in fact, you are on a journey. You are sailing towards your destiny, and it could mean that you are traveling with a companion. It can actually mean physical travel. There are things to watch out for, though, because part of it is the clover leaf. On one hand, it's really lucky, but then it also becomes a little bit of a weed. So it tells you events that you have feared can make you cry. So you're still going to be okay, but there is something very healing about crying. I know it can be painful. I know it's harsh. Crying gets that pain out. There is a minor medicinal effect of salt on the human body. Iodine, for instance, if someone is low in iodine, it causes them to gain weight. It causes them to lose their hair. They lose sleep. Their body starts shutting down. On the other hand, when a runner has been running a marathon and they get really tired, if they soak in Epsom salts, it removes that stress. It removes that pain from the body. So there is nothing wrong with being human, and there's nothing wrong with crying. It is healing. So there are events that are going to make you cry, but it's okay. What concerns me, however, is the serpent card that comes up. This one affects the rest of your outcome. The serpent card, where serpents are not innately evil, they don't set out to be evil. But a serpent, and it oftentimes denotes a woman. The serpent is cattiness, and it's backbiting, and it is that venom that hides in plain view. And it can be internal thoughts, but it's usually external. Those words that are said that cut us to the core, that make us feel like we can't do anything. That's part of the hardship that you're going to have to deal with in all of this, through the death, through going with the wind, going on your travel. You're going to be fine. Dealing with those words, that's going to be hard. These words affect the remainder of the year. Those words, how you overcome them, it plunges you. Okay, this is the sun. It's inverted. So it makes you shift your focus from what can be and what will be to, oh my God, looking at the past, always looking at the past. And that causes blockages and strife. So you have to sweep all of that out. You have to push that aside, because that is the key to your success. The key to your success is you taking control over your life, going on this journey, taking control of your life and saying, I am worth it, damn it. I am worth it. I have value. I know my place. I have value, and I will not accept anything less. I'm reminded of Lilith. And I know we spoke a little bit about that on the show, but Lilith is a woman who says, I am not subservient to you. I have my place and I am worth it. So you are worth it. Things that are on the mind, that's the next 3 cards. So, that's funny. I'll show you. I remember I talked about how the train bearing down on me, that gave me the deer in headlights feel of being overpowered and run over. And then it turned into the moonlight. What's in the mind? The moonlight came up. The moonlight, it is about magic. It is about mystery. It is about, in the night, people have sex, and people dance naked, and people pleasure themselves. But it's also about those illusions and taking control, taking charge over those illusions. What's in the mind? There's the public persona, there's the private persona. It's an illusion, marrying the two. Another thing that's on the mind is the young woman. This is you. And in this one, she is anticipating. Oftentimes, she anticipates somebody's arrival, but it can also be anticipating your arrival, your acceptance of you, of who you are. The owls come up. Now those are inverted. This one is what's in the mind? Taking charge, no longer being the animal of prey, no longer being preyed upon, no longer having to hide when they come into the room, no longer, but being myself. Things that are outside of the control. Well, there's a couple of things here. So there is, I'll show you, there's the inverted bear. We'll talk about that in a second. The inverted man. This oftentimes denotes the passing of somebody, oftentimes from the physical realm, sometimes from just our realm, just from the physicality of it all. The next one is the star. This one represents your hopes, your dreams, your desires. It connects the earth with the sky and water with the earth. It combines all of those elements. So the bear, the inversion of the bear, this one is poked the beast, and now what do I do? It's sort of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I have poked the bear, now what? Do I play dead? Do I run? Do I hide? What do I do? Well, the truth is it's been outside of your control, and I would say that's when you become the mama bear. That's when you say, no, I've had my time being walked on, and now it's time for me to stand up. It's now my time. The man who is leaving, who is inverted, that I feel is self-explanatory. The star, this one is about making your wish. This one is about you deciding to use your own intuition, deciding to use what is good for you and to take charge of your own world. Again, it is the night, but it's using that illusion for your advantage. Do those cards make sense to you?
It actually does, with everything that I've been going through this past 2 years. A lot of things that you're saying, it's clicking in my mind. And there's some things that I have came to a point where I said it's time for me to be myself. Don't let myself from no one no more. It's time for me to grow. So yeah, a lot of things make sense.
So that was just to establish our connection. And now we can discuss anything that you are comfortable discussing. We can go in any direction that you want. Whatever you feel is on your mind, what you would like to expand upon, questions that you might have.
Well, there's one big question that I do have as a parent. It's why keep being a great mom to my kids.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up on me. One more time?
Like, will I be able to be like a good role model for my kids? I have 3 little ones. But I feel like with everything that's going on, I'm just breaking down.
You know what? In this one, it is. This one is very funny. Okay. This one has some awe moments, and this one has some ugh moments, and overall, there's a lot of good moments. Will I be a role model for my kids? In short, yes. The short answer is absolutely. Is it going to be an easy path? No, it is not. What gives me this sort of inclination is there comes the lilies. It's the peace lily. It's the lily of the valley. And I'm reminded, not from the Bible, ironically, but from a film starring Sidney Poitier, and it's the lilies of the field. This man, he ends up by stumbling upon a convent, and he meets these nuns who are, every day they read their Bible, and he works for them and he helps them out. And they quote this passage from the Bible, and it says, "Consider the lilies of the valley. They toil not, nor do they spin. Yet Solomon in all of his glory was not as these." So this is telling you, In short, don't worry about it. Am I going to be a role model? Don't worry about it. You are doing your best, so yes, you will be. But it is not without its trials. It is not without its tribulations. The next card that comes up on your journey is the cross. Now, the cross is a sign of pain. It is a sign of being tortured. It is a sign of loss. But even though I'm not a Christian, it is globally recognized as a sign of victory, of ultimate sacrifice, of love, and of achievement. Will I be a role model? Yes, absolutely. There is, however, one minor caveat. And this is sort of where you have to take control, because will I be a role model? Yes, you will be. But the hardship is here. It's the robber mouse. It's when right now you're dealing with these little things that are nibbling away at your savings and nibbling away at your presence and nibbling away at your ability to be present and nibbling away at your mind and nibbling. And it's the robber mouse. You saved this stuff for later. You saved, and it keeps coming nibble until there's not much left for you. But it is actually a sign, again, of victory, because it says when you clean the house, when you sweep out those robber mice, you regain everything that you lost. Will I be a role model for my kids? Undoubtedly, yes. And I would like to do 3 cards for your children, 1 each, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There is some interesting things about your children, okay? These 3 kids are, they are wonderful, and they're fun, and they're sweet, and they're clever. And there's one who is very thoughtful. It oftentimes, when this one is thoughtful, it's sort of sentimental in a way, and that's always a good thing. It does say sometimes there could be bad news, but it's delivered in a way that it's sweet, even if it doesn't. Even in when they're not meaning to be, it can be very sweet. The next one is dealing with. This one makes me think of, strangely enough. This one is. It's the castle. It's the tower card. Now, this is different from the tarot. In the tarot, this one is about the tower represents breaking with tradition and removing yourself. This tower is different in this deck. This tower represents fairy tales. It represents fantasy. It represents. I keep seeing a knight in shining armor and a dragon, and it talks about making certain that the health is okay, but going back into that fortress, going back into the oneself. Someone who's a little bit of a recluse, someone who's imaginative and creative, but a little bit broad inside. The third one does concern me a little bit. The third one feels things so deeply, but has a broken heart. Not physically, but overtly has a broken heart, deals with anxiety, a lot of external anxiety, and tries to be that healer, but is anxious. I keep getting anxiety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You described all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's what I have. How old are your children?
I have 10, 9, and 8.
10, 9, and 8. Very sweet. You are a good, regardless of what others may have said about you, what others may think about you, you are a very good mom. They know it. They understand it. It's hard. Going through what you're going through is hard. It's not easy. It'll take them a little bit to really acknowledge. It'll be past the teen years. But they'll acknowledge it. They'll see what you've gone through, and they'll be thankful that you did. But you have to stand by. You have to stand by what you have set out to do. Where would you like to go now?
Let's see, love.
Love. Love is a many a splendid thing. Love lifts us up where we belong. Love is overrated. That's what I say. Right now, that isn't what I'm seeing in the cards, your main goal. Because I think that we have this sort of idea that love is, it's the end of everything, and it's the most important thing in the world. And it's not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not. Love, you have to love yourself first. And that's what the cards are telling me. On one hand, they're all inverted. It's not a bad thing. It's just another view of perspective. The first one is actually pretty good that it's inverted. So love. There is the garden party that comes up, but it's inverted. This one talks about when you go to a party and everything seems okay and you think you've made some friends, and then you get the little gossip after you've left. You get oh, well, she said, he said, they said. And you go, oh, well, I thought I liked them. This one is overcoming those external forces. This one is saying, pardon my vulgarity. This one says, yeah, you can talk. I don't give a shit. Talk all you want. I'm me, I'm myself. This is who I am. If you don't like it, you don't brush my teeth. It's fine. You can deal with your own self. The next one it's the dog coming up. And dogs are man's best friend, and they are loyal, and they are faithful, and they are always there. But there's one caveat. The dog, as loyal as they have to be treated well. And if they are not treated well, they revert back to the wild nature. This one says, I got to take care of me. I got to take care of my immediate family. I've got to take care of my children. I've got to take care of myself. And when you do that, yes, you can definitely find love. You can definitely find romance, but you have to love yourself first. Take care of you first. You don't need a man to rescue you. You don't need that. Will I find love? This one comes up inverted. This one is an interesting one to come up inverted because the child card, when she's this way, it talks about how everyone loves you and they love your intentions and children love you. And when it's this way, it says they might mistrust your intentions. It says they observe you. They wonder how choosy that you are. I don't think it's a bad thing to be choosy. You've earned it.
Yeah.
So will there be? Yes, eventually. And I drew a clarifying card in that one. That one is the Cavalier. He's inverted. This one is basically saying, love yourself first. And in fact, with that, I want to tell you a little secret, a little thing that I recommend. It's really important that you do this for your own sake. So, speaking frankly, this is what I would tell you. I do it. It's important. Take a bath with sea salt. And not just sea salt. I'm going to tell you a couple more ingredients, but sea salt. Salt again, because it takes away that negative energy. It takes away that pain. It takes away the sorrow. It washes it down the drain. But anytime you take something away, you have to give back, because otherwise it just is not going to work for you. Otherwise you've become a vacuum. You've gotten rid of everything, but as soon as you're opened up again, all of that stuff comes back. So you need a cup of milk. Goat milk is preferable, but animal milk, because for one, milk is great for the skin. Milk will cause your pores to look great. Milk is great for the skin. Goat milk I prefer because goats are treated, I like to think, better than cows are. And milk is from the mama. It's about nurturing. And then the last thing that you're going to do is a tablespoon of honey in your bath water with the other ingredients. The tablespoon of honey is because honey, it represents the hive mentality. Honey is produced by bees, which all the ones you see are female. There's only a few drones that mate with a queen. The rest of them, they are a group of witches that dance, and they move their tails in a figure eight, and they communicate with dance. And they care about their hive. They care about their body. And also, honey, unlike sugar, doesn't cause yeast infections in lady parts. It's natural. It's antiseptic. So it will help you to, again, it sweetens the deal for you. So do that. And in your bath, this is where it gets a little bit personal. It is not the idea that you are completing the actions, but I want you to touch your body. I want you to feel what it feels like to be loved. I want you to tell yourself how much you love yourself, to enjoy that body, to touch wherever it needs to be, and let that blood flow through your body. And trace on your arm the infinity symbol, the number 8, like the bees do with their stingers. Do this on your body. It'll feel really good, and it will also open your mind so that you can welcome that when it is time. So that if it is love that you really, really desire, yes, you can have it. But you got to love yourself first.
Wow.
All right. We can move on to a career, if that would be what you'd like to do next.
Yes, that would be great.
Career.
You got me sweating over here.
What was that, dear?
You have me sweating.
Career is interesting in this one. This one is talking about a foundation that you have to start first. Okay. I've got the overall outcome. I've got steps along the way. There is a divergence of path, just like on Cassandra, there is a divergence of path. This one comes up at the beginning. This one is telling you, holy shit, I'm faced with it right now and I have to make the decision quickly. This one is the ring in the center. This is, it's a promise, and you're kind of holding on to it. Rings are power. Rings are symbols of promises unbroken. But what's leading you to this sort of split in the road is that you feel like the ring, it's not all that you've been promised. It's not what you have been desiring. It is not, a job is a job is a job, but it's not a career. It's not what you're feeling like. And there is, again, more travel coming ahead. That's the overall. So this one, it has 2 birds, one in the nest and one in flight. This one talks about in the night, leave with your things. So it is talking about travel. The steps along the way. I should read this one first. So the house comes up. The house is talking about giving that facade to the public, but also secretly starting your foundation, directing your movie, setting it up step by step. So that's a good thing. The next levels are, there is the book. We'll talk about that in a second. The flowers and the mountain. How do I proceed in my journey forward with this career? How do I step aside? The book is talking about the book of secrets. So sometimes it's good to have secrets. Sometimes it's good to hide things. Sometimes I'm going to sound maybe dishonest. Sometimes you can tell half-truths, especially when it comes to work-related things, and you get ahead because you have to. Because if, for instance, randomness. If, for instance, you are a hairdresser and you have turned someone's hair green, then you go, oh no, that's the first rinse. We'll go back and we'll make certain that it happens all the time. Don't worry about it. If you were to say, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, I've never done that before, holy shit, this person is not going to be very confident in what you do, and they're going to want to go to somebody else, and then they're not going to, no matter what the result is, they're not going to like the result. Okay, even if you correct it, they're going to still see it as something it's not. So you can be a little bit. You don't have to tell everybody everything. A few secrets are good to have. The flowers. This one talks about gathering those people in your life that can help you. Be selective. So there's nothing, what is the word I'm looking for? You don't, people are afraid of people who know what they want. People are afraid of people who select their group. But in the business world, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be CEOs. I'm going to befriend CEOs. I want to be the boss. I'm going to befriend the boss. It is, however, an uphill climb. You're going to make it. You're going to be fine. Right now, it's an uphill climb. There's a lot that's going on. There's a lot presently that has happened. That separation funeral looking thing that I saw, that happened. Lots of things have happened. There's a lot that keeps knocking you down, but you are ultimately going to be successful. But you have to step out and do it. Anything that I can tell you, you can change it. So you have to be the one to step out and make the way. Make sense?
Definitely.
All right. Now, I know the feeling I get is, health. What about health? I'm not a doctor. I don't do health. So that one, you'll have to deal with yourself. There are some other things that I would like to go into. I want to talk a little bit more about your feeling like a deer in the headlights. I want to talk a little bit more about that feeling of impending doom. I want to talk a little bit more about the illusion that actually you're going to be fine. With these three cards, this is your path forward. These are things that you possess that are good for you, that can help you to achieve. First one, the fox comes up, and again, he reminds you to not fall into the same old traps. Those traps of, I'm not good enough. Yes, you are good enough. Don't fall into those old traps of falling into the situation of being love bombed. I love you, 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 I love you. Don't fall into that situation, because that will not end well. Use that fox, understand, wait. I've seen this before. I don't need that. No. Too much. No. Another thing you have going for you, it's the tree. The tree represents friends and family and loved ones and all of the people that you meet on a daily basis. The leaves, those are the ones that come into your life, and they quite literally leave. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt. You don't know them. They just come for the season, and it's fine. The branches are those that have grown with you. And when they leave, it really hurts and can sometimes destroy the tree. It really hurts. The trunk is you, growing through all of the pain, growing through all of the years, growing and understanding, well, this was not a good year. This was an all right year, going back and forth. That support, that internal support. And the roots, those are the ones who love you, those that are always there for you, the ones that are just under the surface, those that are right there. They support you. No matter if you don't see them, they are always there. That's what you have going for you. And another thing that you have going for you is, it's kind of a strange thing to say it's going for you. Is it a negative? Is it a positive? I don't really know. It is the anchor inverted. So part of what you have going right now is that feeling of detachment, feeling a little bit untethered. It's not a bad thing. It's the beginning of newness, so that you're not tied to anything, so that you can create your own story. Any questions on those?
No question.
Is there anything else as we near the last few minutes here? Is there anything else that you would like to know?
You know what? Not at the moment. I feel like you hit every point that I was just thinking about. It's just amazing. But I appreciate it, everything you said you have done. And I know one of my roots is Cassandra.
I definitely think so too. I definitely think so.
Oh.
No, I'm really good at seeing people's connections and reading their energy. And I absolutely feel like she is definitely one of those roots who supports you no matter what.
And she supports me too. Like,
oh yeah, it's mutual.
In a deep, deep way.
The wonderful thing about trees is that they communicate underground. A lot of people don't always know that, but they do. Trees will, with their roots, they have, it's not language like we would understand language, but it's codes, and they send back and forth. So if there is a tree that is in stress, it sends that stress signal through the root system to the next trees. If there's a forest fire, and the ones on the edge of the forest that are getting burnt, they sense the leaves are curling up. They send that energy through the roots, and the ones deeper in the forest start curling in their leaves too.
Wow, so amazing!
Yeah,
amazing.
It really is quite amazing. They mourn. Not in the way that humans do, but they mourn the loss of one of their ancestor trees.
Wow.
The trees they feel pain, but when the trees, when an old one dies, they keep, the other trees will support the roots for as long as they can. And then when it begins to deteriorate, then it becomes new trees, new growth. And the other trees begin to welcome that tree into.
Wow. That's amazing.
Trees are really phenomenal. It is. So Cassandra is one of your roots. BB is one of the roots.
Yeah. Really good friends.
Focus on that. Well, that's what I have for you, my lovelies.
That was so fun. Thank you. It's so interesting.
You are so welcome. And again, BB, that's why I wanted you to record privately, so before going publicly, because that way then you can share whatever you want to share. I tell the truth, as I see it, no matter who is listening. But sometimes there can be things that are very private.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I feel comfortable. The way we said it, the way the words came through, it's something that I'm okay with. Because it wasn't like a specific thing to get me through. I appreciate this. Maybe we can have this again in 2 more years and see where we at.
Yeah.
Anytime, my love. Anytime.
Thank you so much, Richard-Lael.
You're welcome, darlings.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
All right. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend, you guys.
Take care.
All right. Bye. All right.
Cassandra.